In the olden days, wise people believed that the gods didn't talk with words, but with signs. The oracles weren't books written in stone, but rather events, sudden revelations, and encounters that transformed the lives of those who knew. Interpret your language from Egypt's temples. Even the hidden writings of the early Christians show that the idea that the universe communicates symbolically has persisted. In the olden days, the gods didn't speak with words, but with signs. The oracles weren't books written in stone, but rather sudden revelations and encounters that transformed the lives of those who knew. Interpret your language from Egypt's temples. Even the hidden writings of the early Christians have persisted as an echo that is going through you. You are in a world where the art of listening to the signs has been forgotten. Premonitory dreams, synchronized coincidences that defy logic have been reduced to mere casualities. However, those who have awoken their inner power know that there is no coincidence, only a manifestation of a higher order than. It transcends understanding. I totally get it. It seems like the art of listening to the signs has been forgotten. Premonitory dreams and synchronized coincidences, which defy logic, have been reduced to mere casualities. But those who have awoken their inner power know that there is no coincidence. Everything that happens is a manifestation of a higher order that transcends understanding. As the Gospels say, he who has ears to hear, let him hear. The question is, how do we learn to listen? The signs of the universe are the language of the divine. They are not evidence imposed by an external entity, but the reflection of awareness in action. The correspondence law registered in Hermetic Mysteries maintains that the outside world is a mirror. When you look inside yourself, you'll find that your experiences are the answers to the vibrations you emit. If you're going through a tough time and feeling stuck in a cycle of lack, know that you're not doomed to a predetermined path. Instead, you're reacting to invisible patterns that are part of your own being. As one of the great masters of metaphysics taught, the world doesn't change until the mind changes. The wise ones of old knew that spiritual evolution starts with observing the world around you. They understood that the energy of the universe shows itself through patterns, repeating events, and hidden designs. An unexpected encounter can shake up your life, a disease can force you to look inside yourself, and a series of numbers can reveal something new with each addition until your mind. The wise ones of old knew that spiritual evolution starts with observing the world around you. They saw that the energy of the universe takes form through patterns, repeating events, and hidden forces. An unexpected encounter can shake up our lives, forcing us to look inside ourselves. Numbers, arranged one after the other, can help us understand the message. Those who understand the art of interpretation see that the universe is a living, connected network. Each element responds to the movement of the soul. Many of us look for signals without realizing that the act of observation itself is the key to transformation. Who asks has already started the journey. It's like, no way to find the answers without a search engine, you know. And there's no response without asking. The great truths don't come in fancy phrases, but in moments of understanding that light up the mind in the most unexpected ways. It's like, the spirit blows where you want, and the signs of the universe appear in forms that defy predictability. You know, I really believe that the search engine is key to finding what you're looking for. And it's interesting how the most profound revelations don't come in complicated formulas, but rather, they are these flashes of understanding that hit us right when we need them. It's like the universe is sending us signs every day, and sometimes, they come in ways we don't expect. I think it's amazing how we all have different levels of understanding. What's good for one person might be a challenge for another, and sometimes, what seems like an obstacle can actually be a doorway to a deeper level of existence. All these ancient teachings from different cultures are actually coming together in a beautiful way. It's like everything is in our consciousness, and our reality is shaped by our thoughts and emotions. The signs we see are just responses to the frequencies that our minds and hearts are resonating with. The eye that sees everything as a symbol of the inner awakening, the development of perception beyond the obvious, is a sign of those who have refined their conscience. They can see clearly where others alone come across chaos, deciphering messages in everyday, seemingly insignificant events because they have understood that there are no isolated events. This book is not a manual of divination. This book is a friendly guide to help you recognize what's happening and understand the symbols the universe presents. It's not about manipulating external reality, but rather, aligning with a higher consciousness that's in constant dialogue with each of us. As the ancient alchemists taught, we don't need to raise our views alone. Hey, I've got some great news for you. There's this awesome formula compendium that can help you attract the events you desire. It's like a guide that helps you understand the symbols the universe is constantly presenting. It's not about manipulating external reality, but rather, it's about aligning with a higher consciousness that's in constant dialogue with each and every one of us. The signs we see don't have to be interpreted alone, as the ancient alchemists taught us. They are already present in life, just in a way we haven't recognized yet. The message is already in the life of each one of us. If we learn to observe the world with the eyes of the spirit, we'll see that it becomes an open book, where each page reveals a mystery that leads to the expansion of our being. Universe signs decipher the messages of the divine. We've been paying attention to what you've been saying, and we've noticed that more than 90% of you are not subscribed to our channel. If you're not a subscriber, we'd really appreciate it if you could press the subscribe button and watch the video. We're so grateful for your support, and we're working hard to create more and better content for you. Are you ready to transform your life and your world? The universe communicates with us in a language we can understand. It's not some sort of lifeless thing that just watches over us. Since the beginning of time, people have known that the whole world is like a dance of energies, always moving and changing. It's like a vibration that connects with each one of us and everyone around us. The idea that life is like a beautiful symphony where each person has their own special sound isn't just a pretty thought. It's something we can truly feel in our hearts. A truth that has been yearned for throughout the centuries by schools of mysticism of all traditions. The Kabbalah Hermetic text beautifully captures this sentiment, harmoniously synthesizing the attributed teachings of your esteemed mentors, Magisto. This seemingly simple statement holds a profound truth. Reality, as perceived, is but the manifestation of a universal intelligence that responds to the call of. Their wise ones have always said that everything in the universe is mental. This idea is found in the Kabbalah, in the mystical texts of the Hermetic tradition, and in the teachings of the Masters of Wisdom. It's a simple statement, but it holds a deep truth. Reality is the manifestation of universal intelligence that responds to the vibration of each being. In metaphysical terms, there is no separation between the individual and the cosmos. What happens in life is a reflection of the energy that emanates from the interior. The old spiritual philosophies taught that vibration is the bridge between the mind and matter. Everything in the universe exists as energy at different levels. In the beautiful and mysterious way of things, each of us is a little bit of a star in our own right. But we're also part of something bigger, like a beautiful symphony where each note plays a part. The world around us, from the emotions we feel to the very fabric of the universe, is all made up of energy. And what we feel and experience in our lives is a reflection of the energy around us. It's like a dance, you know. Everything is in constant motion, and what we feel and experience in our lives is a reflection of the energy around us. It's like a beautiful symphony where each note plays a part. In this symphony, there's a law that governs the connection between us and the world around us. What we feel and experience in our lives tends to bring similar experiences, while things that don't resonate with us move away or generate friction. That's why the wise ones insisted on the need to raise our consciousness, because only from the wise ones said that when our vibrations are high, we can access higher realities. They believe that what's inside us reflects what's outside us. And this idea has been embraced by many different spiritual traditions and philosophies. One of them, the Kabbalah, says that the material world is like a mirror of the higher realms, a reflection of energies that come down from above. In the beautiful teachings of the Kabbalah, there's this idea that the material world is like a mirror of the higher realms. It's like the energy of our thoughts, actions, and emotions makes waves that can move mountains. And in Hinduism, they have this beautiful concept of karma, where each of our actions creates a ripple that can be really powerful. It's like when we understand this, it can totally transform the way we experience life. And in those old temples, they used to teach people to work with the vibrations of words, intentions, and mantras. In the beautiful tradition of Vedicism, the Psalms in the Hebrew tradition, and the invocations in Hermetic liturgy, we find that these were not just prayers, but rather precise formulas to gently shift the frequency of our reality. The word itself is a vibration, and when we speak it with intention and knowledge, it has the incredible power to harmonize our internal and external worlds. In the Gospel of John, we find an affirmation that beautifully captures this idea: the deepest secrets of the universe's language are revealed to us right at the beginning. It was the verb, and the verb was with God. John 1:1 tells us that the Word is not only a human medium, but also a primary force through which everything has been created in the texts of the Gnostics. This idea is expanded with the notion that Logos is the expression of the vibratory intelligence underlying the cosmos. The universe is communicating with each one of us through this beautiful principle of resonance. Words aren't necessary, nor are audible or extraordinary signs. The message is in the experience itself, in the encounters, in the patterns that repeat, and in the intuition that whispers answers before the mind. Those who have learned to listen with the spirit understand that nothing is necessary. The universe is communicating with each one of us through this beautiful principle of resonance. Words aren't necessary, nor are audible or extraordinary signs. The message is in the experience itself, in the encounters, in the patterns that repeat, and in the intuition that whispers answers before the mind. Those who have learned to listen with the spirit understand that nothing is arbitrary and that life is in constant dialogue with the soul. The Tsar Central Kabbalah text describes this connection with a fascinating image. When the soul is ready, the light descends, not to receive external signals, but to refine perception to recognize what has always been there. You felt an awakening, a spiritual one, and it's not a miraculous phenomenon or a gift reserved for a select few. The connection between our soul and the universe is something that can be explored in many different ways. One of the most beautiful ways to think about it is through the idea of the light descending. This is a concept that talks about how we can improve our perception to recognize what is always there, even if it seems like it's just in our imagination. Spiritual awakening is something that can happen to anyone, and it's not something that's just for a select few. It's more like a natural part of life when we're more aware. The universe speaks to us in different ways, and sometimes these synchronicities can feel like they're there for a reason. If you're someone who's looking for answers about life's purpose, you might find a book that speaks exactly to what you're going through. And if you're ever unsure about a big decision, it's always good to have a friend or loved one who can give you a helping hand. You know, sometimes when you're searching for answers to life's big questions, a book can really hit the spot. And when you're feeling unsure about something important, a casual conversation can be all you need to feel your way. It's amazing how reality can be like a mirror, where every little thing you do and think is like a message to the universe. It's like a beautiful connection, you know. And when you're feeling afraid, it can make it hard to see the opportunities that are right in front of you. But when you're filled with positive thoughts, you'll find doors opening up all around you. I'm not talking about superstition or magic thinking here, but rather the foundational principle that underpins all spiritual teachings: consciousness creates our reality. Those who have understood this language know that there's no need to wait for dramatic revelations or strident signals. Wisdom is found in the simplicity of everyday life and the soft murmur of wind that whispers in the light of a candle. I'm here to tell you that this isn't superstition or magic thinking. It's the foundation of all spiritual teachings. You are the creator of your own reality. Those who have understood this language know that there's no need to wait for dramatic revelations or strident signals. Wisdom is found in the simplicity of everyday life, in the whisper of wind that dances in the light of a candle, and in the blinks of an inexplicable sensation of certainty that springs up in the silence. For those who have learned to listen to the universe, silence is never the answer. Chapter 2, Signal Number 1, The Call to Spiritual Expansion. Most beings, humans included, go through life without questioning their existence. They wake up, fulfill their responsibilities, follow expectations, and repeat. That little flutter in your chest when you realize that something bigger is calling you. It's that deep, familiar feeling you get when you open your heart and listen to the universe. Chapter 2, Signal Number 1, The Call to Expansion. Most of us humans go through life without really questioning our existence, waking up each day and going through the motions. But there are moments when something shifts, when a new question sneaks into our minds. It's like a quiet but powerful urge to understand what we once took for granted. It's as if a hidden force is whispering that the world is much bigger than we thought. This call doesn't come to everyone in the same way. For some of us, it's an unexpected, mysterious feeling. You know, day after day, the cycle just keeps on going. But then, out of the blue, something happens. A question pops into your head, and you start feeling this desire to understand what you didn't even know you needed. It's like a little whisper, telling you that there's more to life than what you're used to. For some, It's this nagging feeling that something's missing, even when everything seems to be just fine. For others, it's a sudden jolt, a crisis that hits and makes them rethink everything. Some people find it through a book, a conversation, or even words that strike a chord. You know how sometimes you read a book and it just stirs something up inside you. Or maybe you have this deep sense of familiarity when you hear certain words that remind you of something you've always known in the old texts. In the Vedas, there's this idea of SML, which stands for the memory sacred. According to this teaching, spiritual awakening isn't about gaining new knowledge. It's more like rediscovering what's always been inside you, but got lost in the hustle and bustle of daily life. It's like the material world has a way of making us forget our true nature, but it's as if they were remembering something that their soul always knew in the old texts. Vedika is spoken of the concept of SML, the memory sacred. According to this teaching, spiritual awakening is not the acquisition of new knowledge, but the recovery of what has always been inside the human consciousness, trapped in the density of the material. Material forgot your true nature, but the spark of the divine never disappears. At some point in your existence, that spark begins to burn with more intensity, claiming to be attended by the Platonic philosopher in his work about the transcendence of the soul. He wrote that the human being is caught in a physical body, but its true essence belongs to a reality superior. Life in the material world is a temporary exile state. The divine spark inside us is always there, waiting to be embraced. It's like a little flame that wants to come out and play, showing us that there's more to life than the physical world. It's this deep, yearning desire to connect with something more, to feel that connection to the source that everything comes from. This idea isn't just in one philosophy, but in many. It's like a gentle nudge, a reminder that we're made for more than just what we can see. When you feel that call, it's a sign that something deeper is yearning to come out and play. You know that deep down, we all have this desire to connect with something bigger. It's like a thirst that nothing in this world can fully satisfy. And when we start to open our hearts and minds to this journey, we start to see these unexpected paths appear. We find ourselves connecting with others who share the same passion and curiosity about the world. It's like the universe is conspiring to bring us together at just the right moment. This process is like a search engine, but for the answers and experiences that we need in the moment. However, sometimes it's hard to find the right words. It's important to remember that sometimes the journey of awakening can feel a bit overwhelming. It's normal to feel a bit lost or confused when you start to question everything you thought you knew. It's like when you realize that the beliefs you held onto, the routines you followed, and even the relationships you thought were unshakable are actually just constructs. It's a beautiful process of discovering that the reality we thought we knew wasn't as solid as we thought. Sometimes, spiritual awakening can feel like a bit of a roller coaster. You might start to feel like everything you thought you knew is suddenly not as solid as it used to be. You might feel like you're losing your grip on the beliefs and routines that used to feel like they were holding you up. But, if you're open to it, you might realize that there's a bigger, more beautiful world out there waiting for you. In the Sufi texts, this journey of change is often compared to a cleansing fire. The poet Rumi wrote about how our souls are like candles that need to melt to let the light shine through. It's a process that can be a bit uncomfortable, like leaving the old you behind and questioning everything you've learned. But, it's also a chance to face the unknown with courage and curiosity. The journey of spiritual expansion is like a gentle, purifying fire that we all have the potential to embrace. The poet Rumi beautifully captures this transformation when he says, "Your soul is like a candle that must melt to free your light." It's a process that asks us to let go of the familiar and embrace the unknown, to question what we've learned and face the uncertainty of it all. It takes courage and a willingness to be open to change. But for those who embrace it, a new and beautiful form of existence awaits. Before this awakening, we might feel a resistance, an old way of thinking that tries to hold us back. Maybe this is just a phase, as some say. Maybe I should settle for what I have. You know, it's always been there, but it takes a lot of courage and self-discovery to follow this path. When you're ready, you'll see that it's like a new way of being. At first, it can feel a bit overwhelming, like you want to hold on to the familiar. But if you let it, this journey will open your heart and mind in ways you never thought possible. Lawson taught Techin said that this kind of growth is like a river changing course. It's not just for a few special people, but for everyone at some point in their life. You know it, but it's new to some. Some people are more comfortable in their comfort zone, and they don't want to take a chance on something new. Others are scared of what it could mean for their lives. But those who are brave enough to follow it find that the world they knew was just a shadow of what's really out there. This isn't about having a specific destination or an answer that's right away. It doesn't force its ideas on anyone. Each person's path is different, and it helps them grow. Your own evolution is a beautiful journey. Some people will want to dive into the world of knowledge, exploring the universe and learning more about it. For others, it might be a quieter path, a chance to connect with the divine through thoughtful reflection and meditation. What's truly important is the openness to let your soul's true essence shine. When you feel that deep call to grow spiritually, you've got two options: you can either ignore it or follow that calling. Once you listen, life changes forever. Things you didn't notice before suddenly stand out. Every experience becomes meaningful, and the world starts to feel like a book full of wisdom just waiting to be read. For those who answer the call, life becomes a journey of self-discovery. In Chapter 3, we talk about the separation from your blood family and the creation of your soul family, and the birth of your soul family. It's not an accident or coincidence. Each one of us is part of a special family with our own history, beliefs, and challenges. We all have physical features, but we also have mental structures and emotional patterns that often go unseen. These invisible chains can affect the course of our lives for a long time. Traditions have taught us that loyalty to our blood family is important. But the spiritual path has shown us another way. It's important to understand that the soul's evolution often requires a kind of separation and detachment from what might be holding it back from growing. In Buddha's texts, there's a concept called samara, which refers to the mental and emotional impressions that we carry from one life to another. The family we're born into isn't just random, it's a reflection of the patterns we've accumulated over time. Sometimes, we're born into an environment that's really supportive for expanding our consciousness. But, more often than not, our family represents the first big obstacle we face on the path to awakening. Spirituality is all about diving deep into our hearts and souls, trying our hand at choosing a different path than the one we're used to. The wise folks of Taoism have this beautiful idea that our true connection isn't based on blood but on the energy that flows through us. It's like a river finding its natural flow, just as our souls find their own path when they are ready to grow. Family is that special group of people with whom we share an unbreakable bond, a connection that's immediate, automatic, and sometimes even beyond our logical understanding. It's true that many cultures have placed a lot of emphasis on this idea of separation. In some cultures, even the idea of moving away from your family can be seen as a kind of betrayal. They believe that the ties we share with our family are supposed to be forever, even when they might cause us some pain. But here's the beautiful thing, both Eastern and Western wisdom agree that to truly grow as a person, you need to develop your discernment. As the mystics have always said, Rainer Maria Rilke's words resonate deeply. True patria is one in which the soul can breathe without fear. They remind us that we are all part of a bigger community, a family, and a brotherhood that goes beyond the bonds of blood and DNA. Instead, it's a community of like-minded individuals who share the same purpose and values. The Gospel of Jesus, as beautifully captured in Rilke's words, reminds us that we are never alone in our journey. We are blessed to have found a community that supports and uplifts us. The true brotherhood we seek isn't just based on biology, but on shared purpose and values. It's a community that celebrates and supports each individual's journey, no matter where they are on their path. So, let's embrace Rilke's words, "Blessed are those who have found his true family." Determination taught us that it's important to surround ourselves with positive influences. Epictetus, who was born a slave but achieved unwavering wisdom, said that virtue is the only true inheritance. He believed that society's expectations shouldn't define the destiny of individuals who are unable to thrive in their current environment. Determination also taught the importance of finding your own path and staying true to yourself. Epictetus, who was born a slave but reached unwavering wisdom, said that virtue is the only true inheritance. He believed that the ties that society taxes should not define the destiny of the individual. If you find yourself in an environment that prevents you from flourishing, it's okay to choose to leave your own prison, but separation is not always physical. There are those who, even if they continue living with their blood family, manage to transcend the dynamics that limit them. It's not necessary to break with resentment because the real detachment is internal. As the traveler taught Sufism, spiritual does not charge your heart with grudges for what leaves your own prison, but separation is not always a bad thing. There are those who, even if they continue living with their blood family, manage to transcend the dynamics that limited them. It's not necessary to break with resentment because the real detachment is internal. As the traveler taught Sufism, spiritual does not charge your heart with grudge for what leaves, but gratitude for the lesson learned. The arrival of the family of Alma is a mysterious phenomenon at the same time. Inevitable are those people who appear in life as if they always would have been there. There is no need to explanations or loyalty tests. The connection is immediate and deep. A friend who knows can be a brother, a teacher, or someone you feel closer to than a brother. They might be a friend, a teacher, or someone you can talk to like you've known them forever. Sometimes, when you meet someone, it's like you've been waiting for them to show up in your life. Gnostics believe that souls travel in groups, meeting up again and again throughout different lives. Not everyone who crosses your path is meant to stay, but those who feel like they are part of your soul family. They are there for life. Whenever you bump into someone you used to know, it can stir up old memories. It's like you're catching up with an old friend from a previous life. Gnostics believe that souls travel in groups, meeting up again and again throughout different lives. But not all people who cross the road are meant to stay. Those who are on the same wavelength, who feel the same things, are connected by more than just chance. If you've ever felt the need to break free from your family, you can find comfort in knowing that you're never really alone. Your soul family might not always appear right away, but when it does, it becomes a beacon, a reminder that life has a deeper meaning. Frequencies are impossible to lose. They are all united by their shared vibration. Those who felt the pain of straying from their blood family can find comfort in knowing they are never really alone. The soul family doesn't always appear immediately, but when it does, it becomes a refuge and a reminder that life has meaning beyond. As Khalil Gibran said, "Earth is my homeland, and humanity is my family." The soul solves everything. These connections also create some links that previously seemed unwavering and effortless, while others unexpectedly strengthen them. It's not about denying the past, but consciously choosing with whom to share the future. Those who understand this discover that true ties, taxes, and Khalil Gibran's words resonate deeply. Earth is my homeland, and humanity is my family. Our souls are intricately connected, forming bonds that seem natural and effortless. Yet, sometimes, unexpected connections emerge, strengthening our sense of connection. It's not about denying the past, but rather, consciously choosing to share our future with those who understand and respect our spirit. True loyalty lies not in blood, but in the purpose of the spirit. The path of separation is, in reality, a path of union. It leaves behind what restricts, to find what releases. Old ties become a beautiful journey when we walk with those who share the same light. Our soul family becomes a harmonious dance, where each step resonates with the journey. The destination that we've all been longing for. Discount Chapter 44 Signal Number 3, The Fight Against the Social Paradigm and the Need for Validation. From the moment we're born, we're placed in a system that tells us what is right, what is good, and what success looks like. We're not asked what we want, but rather taught to fit into a mold. Existing is like a name that we give ourselves, an identity that we choose to follow a path that others have blazed before us. We're all encouraged to study, build a family, accumulate goods, and seek the approval of others as a way to show that we're doing things right. But somewhere along the way, some of us start to question all that. That moment of questioning is a clear sign that we're starting to tap into our own consciousness. Existing is like putting on a mask, taking on a persona, and following a path that others have laid out for you. People are expected to get married, have kids, and accumulate things to show that they are doing things right. But sometimes, you start to wonder, is this all there is? Asking questions is a sign that you're waking up. Not everyone is brave enough to do that. When you challenge the way things are done in society, you're taking a risk. You might feel afraid of not fitting in or of being judged. It's like walking without a map, without any guarantees. It also means taking a look at all the things you've been programmed with since you were a kid, like what your family, school, and society have taught you. Danish philosopher. Most of us are living in a quiet despair, going along with an existence that doesn't really feel right. We've chosen to follow the system because doing so makes things easier. But, in reality, it's much harder to take responsibility for our own lives. It's easier to follow the script than to accept the freedom and spiritual awakening that we all so deeply desire. Most people are living in a quiet despair. They are conforming to an existence that they didn't choose. They are afraid to challenge the system because it would force them to take responsibility for their own life. It's easier to follow the script than others have written, but accepting spiritual awakening demands courage. It demands breaking free from programming and discovering a purpose that goes beyond what we've been led to believe. Throughout history, great seekers of truth have been those who dare to question. Socrates was convicted of challenging the beliefs of his time. He was persecuted by the established order. Giordano Bruno was burned at the stake for proposing that the universe has a divine purpose. It takes a lot of courage to break free from the programming and discover your true purpose. Throughout history, there have been many great seekers of truth who dare to question the status quo. Socrates was convicted for challenging the beliefs of his time. Galileo was persecuted by the established church for proposing that divinity was infinite and could not be limited by social doctrines. People resist change because they are designed to preserve an order that benefits a few. Anyone who seeks the truth must be willing to face the discomfort of dissent. One of the most entrenched paradigms is that of academic success and professional advancement. Divinity is infinite and can't be limited by social doctrines. Social doctrines are designed to preserve an order that benefits a few, and they resist change because of this. Anyone who seeks the truth must be willing to face the discomfort of dissent. One of the most entrenched ideas is that of academic success and professional success. Staff instill the idea that a university degree, a career, and a bulging bank account are synonyms of success. They teach that the accumulation of technical knowledge is rewarded, but rarely do they encourage interior exploration. Teachers teach students to solve equations, but they don't teach them to understand the nature of the soul. Master Hoodoo Krishnamurti warned that conventional education was, as a measure of value, staff instill the idea that a university degree, a career, and a bulging bank account are synonyms of success. While the accumulation of technical knowledge is certainly rewarding, it's important to remember that true personal growth and understanding of the soul are also valuable aspects of life. Master Hoodoo Krishnamurti wisely warned that conventional education was nothing more than an indoctrination process that stifled the real thing. Intelligence is not a sign of good health. As we adapt to a society that is deeply sick, it's crucial to remember that we don't have to fit into an imposed model. While we can achieve material achievements, we often do so at the expense of our authenticity. This doesn't mean that academic knowledge lacks value. Academic knowledge is just one piece of the puzzle. Some people may have received a great formal education, but still feel unfulfilled. Others may never have stepped foot in a university, yet have a profound understanding of the world that goes beyond any curriculum. Even Leonardo da Vinci, considered one of the greatest geniuses of all time, found fulfillment through self-discovery. There's more than one way to measure a person's growth, you know. Some people may have had the benefit of a good education, but still feel like there's something missing. Others might not have even gone to college, yet they've gained a deeper understanding of the world than most could ever dream of. Take Leonardo da Vinci, for example. He's considered one of the smartest people to ever live, and he studied with Nikola Tesla, whose inventions changed the world. Da Vinci didn't believe in limiting yourself to what you've learned. He thought that great teachers, like the Sufi masters, weren't just scholars, but people who had discovered the truth through their own experiences. And the idea that we need validation to be successful is also a myth. It's all about finding your own path and being proud of who you are. Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote a beautiful essay on self-reliance. He said that we should not let others' opinions define who we are. We should live according to our own values and let our actions speak for us. We all want to be seen as good people, and sometimes we try so hard to be what others expect us to be that we lose sight of who we truly are. Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote about this in his essay Self-Sufficiency when he said that being yourself in a world that always wants you to be something else is what being elderly really means. It's like a fight against the need to change. To be your true self, you have to let go of the idea that your value depends on other people's approval and start measuring life by your own internal standards based on being true to yourself. Sufficiency wrote that being one same in a world that constantly tries to become something else is what the elderly achieved. The fight against the need to be different is, in essence, a battle for authenticity. It requires unlearning the idea that your personal value depends on the approval of others and starting to measure life with an internal standard based on coherence between what you think, feel, and do. Spirituality is not compatible with the need to please everyone. Whoever looks for the road interior will inevitably collide with the resistance of its environment. Family, friends, and society will try to convince him that he is wrong to return to the path established. They will tell him that it is washing your time. What is think? It's about what you feel and do. Spirituality is not about pleasing everyone. If you look inside, you might run into some resistance from your family, friends, and society. They might try to convince you that you're wrong to stray from the path. They might say that your ideas are unreal, that life is simpler when you stick to the current. But if you've seen beyond illusions, you might realize that what seems sufficient before isn't enough. The true purpose of life is not to fit in, but to expand. Those who come to need validation are still prisoner of external expectations, but those who release themselves from that bond find peace. That's not up to them or anyone else. Their success isn't about titles or possessions, but about the depth of your connection. Life isn't about rejecting the world or revealing itself by doing things the easy way. It's about choosing consciously what way to follow. Some will find meaning in the academy, others in art, and others in the self. The path to meaning is unique to each person. Some find it in the academy, some in art, and some in introspection. There's no one-size-fits-all answer, but there's a community of people who are unafraid to challenge the status quo. You can find these people by looking for those who are unafraid to break free from societal norms. When you find them, you'll know because they'll be the ones who'll be the first to say, I don't need external validation to be a part of life. I'm not defined by my obligations. I'm defined by my acts of creation. Chapter 5, Section 4, talks about opposition and tests as signs of transformation. Remember, the spiritual path is not a peaceful one. It's a journey of awakening a higher consciousness. You'll soon discover that your progress isn't received with indifference. You'll face resistance, but that's just because you're reaching a threshold of transformation. The forces that govern existence are just trying to make sure that growth occurs. Every promotion entails a battle, and every awakening requires going through a dark night. For thousands of years, spiritual traditions have described this process as a war, not in the physical sense, but as a confrontation between in a gentle and supportive tone. Krishna reminds Arjuna that the forces that keep things the way they are strong. But he also tells Arjuna not to start a fight. Instead, he says, teach me. When the soul is ready to go beyond its limits, there's a lot of fighting. Get up with strength and face the challenges in your life. Remember, the real fight is inside. It can show up in many ways, like when people around you don't understand what you're doing. Friendships that once seemed solid can sometimes crumble, and relatives who don't understand change might try to force a return to the norm. Society itself can become a wall that imposes doubts and fears. But the fiercest opposition often comes from within ourselves, from our minds. The psychoanalyst Jung described this process as a confrontation with our shadow, the part of ourselves that fears change and struggles to maintain our identity. Our minds, built on past patterns, resist expansion and generate self-deception, excuses, sabotage. These are the subtle forces that try to stop those who are beginning to awaken. When you start to feel insecure, it's a sign that you're growing. If you make a mistake and lose everything you've built, don't worry. If you're strong enough, you'll bounce back. These questions are not signs of failure, but signs that you're growing. In ancient traditions, this phase was represented by the figure of the deception, excuses, sabotage. These are the things that try to stop us from being our best selves. When we're in the early stages of a new journey, it's normal to feel a bit unsettled. But if we're being honest, these feelings are actually signs that we're making progress. In ancient traditions, this period was seen as a time of crossing over, like a threshold guardian helping us move from the unknown to the known. In Greek myths, Heracles had to face impossible challenges to achieve immortality. And in Sufi tradition, it's said that before we can reach our full potential, we have to face the storm of our own ego. In esoteric Christianity, the test in the desert is a time when we're asked to grow and evolve. Threshold guardian, a symbol of the deep connection between the initiate and the knowledge upper. In Greek myths, Heracles had to overcome impossible challenges to achieve immortality. In the Sufi tradition, Before reaching the light, the search engine must face the storm of your own ego. In esoteric Christianity, the test in the desert is a time when temptation and doubt try to divert you from your purpose. Every challenge is an invitation to grow stronger. Resisting is not a punishment, but a process of refinement. The alchemist does not fear the fire because it knows that it is the only way to transmute gold. Similarly, the nature of the tests is a way to evolve. Tools, but war is not just internal. The world we live in is designed to keep us from really seeing what's going on. Distraction, fear, information manipulation, and social pressure are all ways to keep people from realizing what's true. Those who stray from the path are often made fun of, sometimes even attacked and persecuted. There are so many examples of this in history, like with philosophers. Tools are great, but war is not just an internal struggle. The world we live in is designed to keep us from really seeing what's going on. Distraction, fear, information manipulation, and social pressure are all ways to keep people from awakening. Those who stray from the path get laughed at, sometimes even attacked. There are so many examples of philosophers and visionaries who faced opposition for daring to see beyond. Giordano Bruno was executed for having ideas that scared the power structures. But his name remains, while those of his detractors are forgotten. The spiritual war is not about fighting others. It's about battling for truth. We should remember that visionaries who dared to think beyond the limits of their time faced opposition from the system. Giordano Bruno was executed for his ideas, but his name remains, while those of his detractors are forgotten. The spiritual war is not about fighting others, but about battling for truth and integrity. It's about staying strong and shining a light even in the middle of darkness. As Taoism taught us, the true warrior doesn't fight with weapons, but with the strength of her spirit. She is not dragged by hate or despair, but advances with the certainty that all opposition is part of the process. When facing resistance, she thinks, if the integrity is like a bright light that shines through the darkness. In Taoism, they taught that true warriors don't fight with weapons, but with the strength of their spirit. They are not dragged down by hate or despair, but they move forward with the belief that every challenge is a part of the journey. When they face resistance, they turn around and think, if the road is right, it shouldn't be so hard. But that's one of the traps of evolution, the belief that comfort is the same as value. In reality, it's the opposite. What has value and what transforms requires effort. As Rainer Maria Rilke said, the difficult thing is what saves us. The moment when the tests appear is the time when you must keep going, my friend. With each step, you'll find that your mind will try to convince you that it's safer to return to what you already know. But you know that there's more out there than what meets the eye. You don't have to settle for the illusion anymore. Every step you take on this journey of awakening is like opening the door to a bigger, more beautiful reality. Every doubt you overcome, every fear you face, is a step closer to the expansion of your heart and mind. Keep going, my friend. The mind will try to convince you that it's safer to stick with what you know, but you have the potential to see beyond that. You can't let yourself get stuck in the illusion of the past. Every step you take on your journey to awakening is a step towards growth. Every doubt you overcome, every fear you face, is a triumph. It's a victory in the spiritual war, not because you're trying to defeat others, but because you're on a path to grow your own awareness. In the end, the soul that successfully navigates these tests is not the same as the one that started. The journey has made you stronger. You've learned that resistance doesn't mean you should give up. Transformed obstacle, in learning, it's a victory in the war, spiritual, not because the objective is to defeat others, but because the purpose is to conquer your own awareness. In the end, the soul that crosses the tests is not the same as the one that has been tempered and strengthened. Hai has understood that resistance is not a sign that it should stop, but only the confirmation that it is on the right path at that time. To see the fight as a punishment and recognize it as the sacred fire that makes it what it was always intended to be. Chapter 6, Sign Number 5, The Road Law. Difficult, the soul does not grow in comfort. No great teacher emerged from an easy all-life existence free of challenges. Spiritual awakening it's not something that just comes to you all of a sudden, it's a journey of change that takes you through the fire of experience. The history of humanity is full of stories that show us that the light we seek is found in the toughest of times, when we stick with it and don't give up, when we face pain and learn from it. This is the path that's been laid out for us all. It's not something that just happens overnight. It's a journey that takes you through the fire of life's challenges. And if you look at the history of humanity, you'll see that every story has a lesson. Every struggle, every pain, is a chance to grow and learn. It's a law of the road, a path that we all travel. It's not an easy path, but it's a path that many of us seek. The human mind likes to take shortcuts, to find easy answers. But the wise teachings of our spiritual traditions tell us something important. They say that true growth happens when we face the things that make us uncomfortable. They say it happens when we move forward despite our fears. They say it happens when our spirit meets resistance and we find a way to persevere. And that, my friends, is the journey of the Sufi tradition. It's a rule that's found in all spiritual traditions, though not many people accept it. The human mind likes shortcuts and immediate solutions, like roads clear towards realization. But deep teaching tells us that real growth happens when we face what's uncomfortable, when we progress despite fear, and when the spirit meets resistance. Rumi described this process as a necessary demolition. Don't let life take you away because you're emptying so you can receive anything else. Great transformation happens in the vacuum, in the crisis, in the loss of what seemed essential. A human being rarely changes when everything is in order. Awakening arises in the moments when everything is in order. Rumi described this process as a necessary demolition. Don't let life's changes push you away. Instead, let them empty your cup so you can receive something new and wonderful. Great transformation occurs in the vacuum, in the crisis, in the loss of what seemed essential. A human being rarely changes when everything is in order. Awakening arises in the moments that everything is just right. The concept of alchemy stirs the soul. Spiritual offers a perfect metaphor for this process. The ancient alchemists not only sought to turn lead into gold, but they also understood the transmutation as a journey. Internal lead represents consciousness trapped in the density of the ego, the weight of attachments, and limitations. Everything is, and that's a beautiful thing. The idea of alchemy is a perfect metaphor for this process. The ancient alchemists didn't just try to turn lead into gold. They also understood that alchemy was a journey of the soul. Pure gold emerges when you let go of everything that holds you back. It's like letting your ego, attachments, and limitations melt away. To become pure gold, you have to submit to the fire, get rid of all your impurities, and let go of everything. The Stoic philosopher said that the hard part is knowing yourself. You can't really know if a ship is strong until it faces a storm. And even if a human has reached inner mastery, they have to try. If you're looking for growth without sacrifice, or if you're trying to build a fragile spirituality that can't withstand life's challenges, you're not alone. Those who have journeyed down the difficult path know that each obstacle is a stepping stone towards greatness. Jesus taught this beautifully with a simple phrase: the door is narrow, and the path is narrow that leads to life, and few are the ones who find it. Matthew 7, those seeking growth without sacrifice may find themselves on a delicate spiritual journey, where each obstacle is a stepping stone towards self-discovery. Jesus conveyed this lesson with a simple yet profound phrase: the door is narrow, and the path is narrow that leads to life, and few are the ones who find it. Matthew 7:13, he wasn't referring to a physical path, but rather, an internal journey of those who choose truth over comfort. Most of us gravitate towards the path that's wide and easy, following the rules of the world without questioning them. But those who truly seek awakening understand that they must sometimes walk alone, facing rejection, doubt, and uncertainty. Every great teacher has been tested before reaching their full potential. Siddhartha Gautama left his royal life to face misery before becoming the San Juan Buddha. De la Cruz was imprisoned, and I know that sharing your deepest revelations about union with what Divine Teresa de Avila went through can be really tough. I'm here to support you, and I want you to know that it's not about finding the easy way out. It's about finding the light through the darkness. But it's important to understand the difference between suffering that strengthens and suffering that doesn't. Not all pain is a test, and not all challenges are signs of evolution. Some people might see their suffering as their whole identity or use it as an excuse not to move forward. But we're here to remind you that the difficult road lies not. Some people are calling it a resignation, but the change is really about embracing the pain and using it as a stepping stone to growth. In the Kabbalah, there's been a lot of talk about the concept of trim, which is like a contraction of divine light. It's all about creating space for creation without leaving a gap. You can't manifest something new if you keep holding on to the old. It's like how the soul, when it goes through tough times, doesn't just give up. Ada prepared many when they faced their challenges. They asked, "Why is life so hard?" But the real question is, how can I make it easier for myself? Why me? This happens, but what does it mean? Each challenge implies a message. Every difficulty is an opportunity to grow stronger on the inside. Some people see the storm and take refuge waiting for it, but others understand that the storm is part of the process. Its purpose is not to destroy, but to purify. When they go through it, they discover that they are not the same as before. They have been transformed by the fire of experience. They have left behind what did not work and emerged with clarity that cannot be otherwise obtained. I'm so glad you're thinking about the way difficult things can be a good thing. It's not a curse, but a privilege. Not everyone gets to experience it, but those who do are the ones who really appreciate it. People who face challenges with dignity, with a positive attitude, and with the belief that each obstacle is a door in disguise end up finding what most people never see, true freedom and wisdom. It's like a light that only shines for those who have walked through darkness without losing their faith. Chapter 7, Number 6, The Power of Time and Synchronization with the Universe. Time is one of the most persistent illusions of the mind. People live between memories of the past and projections of the future while we're alive right now. The only point where life really exists is right here, right now. Modern consciousness has been conditioned to assess the anticipation and planning for measure success in terms of what has been achieved or what is expected to be achieved. But the more profound teachings have repeated a truth that is constant and unchanging. Only in the now is the power found. They express the answers that are so much. They seek to explore this idea. During millennia, Eastern thought has explored this idea. In Taoism, we talk about the art of acting in the flow of the existence isn't about passivity. It's about tuning in deeply to what is, without letting the ego get in the way and try to control things. Laws wrote that water is the most powerful element because it flows without resistance, adapting to each circumstance without clinging to the past or forcing the future. Buddhism says that suffering comes from the mind, which focuses on what will come in the future. Mapada says that neither the past nor the future really exists. Those who manage to live fully in the present are the ones who truly appreciate it. You'll be delighted to know that the reality we experience isn't just a chaotic series of events, it's actually a beautiful synchronia dance. Isn't it fascinating how many of our most profound spiritual experiences happen in those moments of absolute presence? You'll be amazed at what you can discover when you pay close attention to a new daybreak. And the wisdom you can gain from a genuine connection with another person through conversation is truly invaluable, especially when you consider that it can surpass the wisdom of hundreds of books. When you're able to experience consciousness without the interference of psychological time, you'll understand what true divinity feels like. The present is such a special moment in life, isn't it? It's where all the magic of the universe comes together. Have you ever heard of the term synchronicity coined by Carl Jung? It's all about those little coincidences that just feel like they are meant to be. Like when you bump into someone you really wanted to talk to, or a phrase hits you right at the right time, or a sign from the universe answers a question you didn't even know you were asking. It's like life is this beautiful, connected web we're all a part of. And the shamans of different cultures have been teaching us this for a long time. They say life is like a constant, beautiful dance. The mirror is a beautiful reflection of each person's inner world. When our minds are scattered, the world can feel chaotic, with a lot of interference and confusion. But when we pay attention and live in the present with our whole being, life responds with precision. The right person will appear at the right moment. This is a simple truth that Jesus expressed when he said, "Don't worry about tomorrow, because tomorrow will take care of itself." Matthew 6:34. 34 is a call to embrace life's journey with understanding. It's a gentle reminder that when we let go of our worries about the future and appreciate the present, we can open doors to amazing opportunities. And when we let ourselves feel the nostalgia of the past, we can embrace the beauty of transformation. The mind, with its ability to create stories, analyze, and plan, can sometimes hold us back from fully living in the present. Hey, I just wanted to let you know that 34 isn't about being careless. It's more about understanding that life is full of amazing opportunities when we trust the present and don't worry too much about the future. It's like having a soft spot for the past and not letting go of the good things that have happened. Sometimes, our minds can get in the way of living in the moment. We overthink things and create stories that make it hard to enjoy the present. But, sometimes we just need to stop and let our minds rest. When we do that, we realize that life is simpler than we thought. It's like having a little chat with ourselves about what's going on. In the Zen tradition, they say that enlightenment isn't some magical, unattainable state. It's more like having the ability to see things as they are, without all the extra noise in our heads. One time, Zen asked your disciple a question about the sound of a single hand applauding. He didn't expect an intellectual answer, but rather, he was looking for something more deep and meaningful. He wanted to know if there was a way to capture the essence of the moment, to hold on to the silence of the mind. He was searching for those who had learned to live in the now. He wanted to find out if they could make life stop feeling like a battle and become a harmonious flow. He was curious to see if the signals appeared more clearly, if decisions were made with certainty, and if fears lost their power. I know it's hard to imagine, but problems don't just disappear. They are not obstacles to be feared, but natural parts of the Ramo Las Roma with the universe. You don't actively seek this out, it happens when you need control. Life is always communicating, but most people don't listen because they are too busy trying to foresee what will come or hold on to what has already happened. When you live in the now, the universe is your partner. You'll be in good hands, my friend. There's no need to worry about what to do because you'll always know exactly what to do. There's no rush to reach a destination because you'll understand that everything is happening exactly as it should. In that state of presence, you'll see that absolute existence isn't a mystery. It's just an infinite field of possibilities waiting for you. Hey, friend. Dreams have always been a doorway between our world and the beyond. They're like roads, each one leading us to new destinations. Since the beginning of time, dreams have been a bridge between our human thoughts and the greater mysteries of the universe. When we rest and let our souls soar, we're not just traveling through space, but also to places where words don't even need to exist. It makes perfect sense that the most meaningful messages have been revealed in dreams. The wise men of the East have recognized that sleep is a time for receiving messages. In the Kabbalah, it's believed that our souls continue to learn and grow even while we sleep. A part of our consciousness goes to the higher realms to receive teachings, acts, and revelations. In the world of dreams, the reality is presented without ego interference, which is a beautiful thing. What hides behind reason in the vigil is revealed in the dream without restrictions. The wise tradition says that sleep is a 60th part of death because it is the only moment in which the spirit is partially released from the weight of the body. The Book of Enoch is one of the more enigmatic and prohibited texts of Judeo-Christianity, and it's really interesting to think about. In the Christian tradition, it's said that the ancient patriarchs received visions in the dream world. There's this guy named Enoch who apparently ascended to the skies without dying, which is pretty amazing. He said that dreams were more than just random images, they are a way for us humans to connect with angels. In his story, the gods are like these higher entities who watch over us and share secrets about the universe through visions. Eleanor Blavey, Theosophical tradition. I was thinking about dreams the other day, and how they are like these little windows into our inner world. It's like they are a connection process with ourselves, the self superior. And from what I've read, there are all sorts of different types of dreams. Some are just the activity reflection of the day, the things we're thinking about. Then there are the ones that are more like messages from our subconscious. But the ones that really stand out, the ones that truly matter, are the ones where our souls seem to receive some kind of wisdom. It's like they are the key to understanding ourselves, According to Blavatsky, that's what dreams are all about. It's about learning to see through the common dream and recognize the real message. Because, at the end of the day, not everything that we dream is a message, but it's all part of the journey of life. It's truly amazing how dreams can have such a deep impact on our lives. When a dream leaves an indelible mark on our memory and doesn't fade with time, it's a sign that there's a deeper, transcendent meaning waiting to be discovered. Carl Jung, a renowned psychologist, studied archetypes and the collective unconscious, and discovered that dreams are filled with universal symbols and images that have appeared in all cultures and throughout history. It's fascinating to think that people from different parts of the world and separated by centuries and continents can have the same dream patterns. Water in dreams is often a symbol of emotion, and it's interesting to think about the different feelings it can represent. The snake is a symbol of a beautiful change and hidden wisdom that the roads and crossroads talk about. Decisions are very important, and they can be hard. But there are dreams in dreams, a language beyond language, a symbolic grammar. When you learn to decipher, you can understand clear messages about his destination. The sacred texts are full of dreams, and they are full of prophecy. Hosea in Genesis interpreted Pharaoh's dreams and predicted 7 years of abundance followed by 7 years of shortage. The court of Babylon is like a big, mysterious puzzle with dreams, kingdoms, and ancient stories. One of the stories is the Gilgamesh epic, which is super old, like, older than time itself. In this story, the king Enkidu gets a feeling in his gut that he's about to die. These tales show us that sometimes, when you know what's coming, it's like you're given a heads up before it actually happens. It's like physics, but in a dream world. Dreams aren't just about warnings or prophecies, they can also be reminders of who we really are, deep down. Traditions. Some people say that our souls carry with them the memory of where they came from. In the state of orbit, there are people who have had dreams that have given them a deep sense of purpose, as if they had received answers that their minds could never have formulated. There are those who have had encounters with teachers, with temples, luminous places that they have never seen but that they recognize with a deep familiarity. Those dreams are not just products of the imagination. There's a thought that traces of memory, fragments of a reality that transcends the everyday, can be found in dreams. In ancient Greece, Asclepios temples were healing centers where the sick slept with the hope of receiving in dreams the revelation of their cure. The priests interpreted the visions and gave instructions based on messages received. In Egypt, the pharaohs retired to receive in dreams the day of the gods. In the old days, people tried to suppress the spiritual side of life, but mystics knew that dreams were a way to connect with the divine. Not all dreams are from the light, and some can even be a way to find hidden truths. Zor says that dreams can be a mirror of our inner world. In the old days, when people were trying to understand the spiritual side of life, some really special people, the mystics, understood that dreams were a way to connect with the divine. But not all dreams are from the light, sometimes they can be a little distorted. Zor says that dreams can be affected by our emotions, and sometimes fear and anxiety can make us see things the wrong way. That's why spiritual traditions say it's important to think about what you're seeing in your dreams. Not everything you dream has to be taken literally. If you're looking for answers, it's good to trust your intuition and separate what's real from what's not. It's important to understand that dreams can be a bit distorted by our own emotions. If you're feeling anxious or afraid, it's easy to see things in a negative light. That's why it's so important to practice discernment. Not everything you see in dreams is meant to be taken literally. It's good to develop your intuition to separate the true meaning from the illusions. To get the most out of your dreams, it's helpful to prepare before bed. Set an intention for your dreams, like asking a question that your subconscious will answer in a way that's easy for you to understand. You can even keep a dream diary, noting down every detail. This will help you understand the messages you receive. It's also a good idea to reflect on your dreams when you wake up. Just be sure to avoid negative thoughts. Preparation is key. Before sleeping, you can establish a clear intention, a question that your superior mind will respond to in your own language. Symbolic dreams can be recorded in a diary, and every detail can be scored. Then, when you wake up, you can review the messages. These messages only acquire meaning when they are observed retroactively. It is also recommended to avoid negative influences while sleeping. Your mind absorbs the day's easy impressions and projects them into the world. The universe speaks in many forms, and one of the most subtle and powerful is through dreams. By ignoring them, you miss the opportunity to receive messages. Those who learn to listen to them discover that the answers they are looking for are. When you sleep, your mind soaks up all kinds of impression from the day and projects them into the world around you. The universe speaks to us in many ways, and one of the most subtle and powerful is through dreams. If you ignore dreams, you miss out on messages that can help you find the answers you're looking for. But if you learn to listen to your dreams, they'll always be there, waiting for the right time to be remembered. In Chapter 9, Signal number 80, we talk about the resonance with abundance and flow. Universal abundance isn't about luck or effort. It's not dependent on external factors or circumstances. Abundance is a frequency, a vibration, with which you can tune in or out. They've always been there, just waiting for the right moment to be remembered. Chapter 9, Signal Number 80, The Resonance of Abundance and Flow. Universal abundance isn't about luck or effort. It's not dependent on external factors or circumstances. Abundance is a frequency, a vibration, with which we can align or disalign. Life responds to the energy that's emitted, and those who understand this law discover that attracting prosperity isn't about intensity, but about harmonizing with its natural flow. The teachings of New Thought have explored this truth with great depth. In The Science of Becoming Rich, it was claimed that wealth isn't about having a lot of things, it's about being mentally rich. According to your teachings, people don't prosper because they work more than others, but because they think differently. The key to true prosperity is not working harder, but being aware of how you think. This idea is similar to the teachings of the New Thought movement, which explore this truth in depth. They said that wealth is not an accumulation of goods, but a state of mind. They believed that the key to abundance is not in blind effort, but in being aware of how you think. According to your teachings, wealth is more than just stuff, it's a mindset. You said that prosperity doesn't come from working harder than others, but from having a different mindset. You also said that true wealth lies in consciousness, not in blind effort. This idea isn't new. In ancient India, the wise sages of the Vedanta talked about abundance as the natural state of the universe. You believe that scarcity isn't real, it's an illusion created by our minds. You said that when we focus on scarcity, it becomes our reality. You also said that if we constantly think about it, we'll attract it into our lives. In ancient India, the wise sages of the Vedanta taught that abundance is the natural state of the universe, as you perceive it. When we feel short, it's because our minds have created that perception. But when we focus on the positive, we attract more of what we desire. On the other hand, when we feel full, we start to see abundance around us. Unfortunately, many of us have been taught to feel this way since we were children. We've been told that life is a struggle, that money is hard to come by, and that only a few can prosper. But the collective mind has been the opposite is true. When we cultivate a fullness mentality, we begin to see manifestations of abundance in all parts. Unfortunately, most of us have been programmed since childhood to believe that life is a fight, that money is difficult to get, and that only a few have the right to prosperity. The collective mind has been molded by lack beliefs and those who do not question this paradigm, and we are trapped in an endless cycle of limitation. But the universe does not work under the rules of scarcity, its essence is the expansion of infinite potential. Stars do not save their light, trees do not limit their growth, and rivers do not contain their fruit. Everything in nature exists in abundance. Some people are held back by their beliefs and the people around them. They get stuck in a cycle of feeling limited, but the universe doesn't work that way. Its essence is all about growth and abundance. There's so much potential in nature, and it's all around us. Charles Fillmore, a key figure in the New Thought movement, said that poverty is like a disease of the spirit. It happens when our mind is disconnected from its true essence. We are here to help you understand that fear of a lack of resources is the reason you feel it. Charles Fiore, one of the early New Thought leaders, explained that poverty is a disease of the spirit, a condition that arises when the mind has separated from its source. Divine is not the world that gives you or you remove, but your own conscience, taught to heal the relationship with prosperity. First, heal your perception. This means that abundance is not pursued, but allowed to fight to obtain. The process consists of eliminating internal barriers that prevent receiving what you now need. Source Divine is not the world that gives you or you take away. It's your own conscience that teaches you to heal your relationship with prosperity. First, you have to heal your perception of it. You don't pursue abundance, you allow it to come to you. The process involves getting rid of the internal barriers that prevent you from receiving what is now available. The Kabbalah says that the Creator's light is always present, but the container must expand to contain it. Abundance doesn't attract in the conventional sense. Instead, you have to tune into it through your mental and emotional state. One of the most important things to do to enter resonance with abundance is to be grateful, not as in the Kabbalah says that the Creator's light is always present, but the container must expand to contain it. Abundance doesn't attract in the conventional sense, but you can tune into her through mental and emotional practices. One of the most important keys to entering resonance with abundance is gratitude, not as an abstract concept, but as a practice. When you focus on what you have instead of what you lack, you start to emit a vibration that the universe responds to, amplifying it. You'll be amazed at how much you'll have to give thanks for. As Florence said, gratitude is not just a gesture of appreciation, but an active alignment with the flow of the provision. It's important to remember that gratitude is more than just a feeling. When you're feeling grateful, it's like you're sending out a signal to the universe that says, I'm open to receiving more abundance. But here's the thing, just thinking about abundance or repeating positive phrases isn't enough. You have to take action. Joseph Murphy, in his book The Power of the Mind, talks about how thoughts without action are like a garden without water. To really make changes in your life, you have to take steps that match the positive thoughts you're nurturing. We all know that thinking about wealth and acting from a fear of losing it is sending mixed signals to the universe. It's also important to understand that abundance isn't just about having a lot of money. There are people who have a lot of money but are emotionally poor, and there are people who have a little but are full of joy. True abundance is a balance between the two. Wealth is a wonderful thing, but it's important to remember that it's not the be-all and end-all. If we're constantly afraid of losing it, we're sending mixed signals to the universe. We have to remember that true abundance comes from within. It's not about having a lot of material things, but about finding inner peace and growth. Some people get so caught up in chasing money that they forget what's truly important. They end up feeling trapped by their possessions. But when we align our vibration with prosperity, it comes naturally. It's a beautiful thing when we understand that abundance is a frequency, not just a coincidence. Life starts to change when we see wealth not as something we have to fight for, but as a part of everything around us. You're already so close. All you have to do is adjust the vibration of releasing the beliefs of lack of trust in the universe. It's like a radio that can only capture a station if it's tuned in on the correct frequency. Prosperity can only manifest in the life of someone who vibrates in harmony with it and really understands this principle. Fear scarcity again because it knows that abundance is not something that is. It has something that is. Chapter 10, Signal Number, New Challenges. Life can be tough, right? Sometimes it feels like a roller coaster, with lots of ups and downs. We all go through times when it seems like things are just not fair. But, that's life. Sometimes we face challenges that make us doubt, but that's also a part of growth. Every struggle can be a stepping stone to something beautiful. In the end, what seems like a curse can actually be a blessing in disguise. Every difficulty we face is a chance to grow and evolve. So, let's embrace the challenges we face today, because they are actually building blocks for our success. Proverb, Sufi the fire. You know how you see this symbol on the roads over and over? Well, it's actually got a really deep meaning. It's an initiation, a force that purifies. It's like a fire that burns away what's not needed, so that new things can grow. In alchemy, it's like lead turning into gold without being heated. And it's the same with our souls. We can't reach our full potential unless we go through some tough times. All of the great spiritual teachings agree that pain is not a punishment, but a teacher. In Job's book, one of the oldest texts in tradition, it says that, Christian, I am so sorry to tell you the story of a fair man who loses his whole family, his wealth, his health, and his job. I wish I could tell you why, but I'm afraid there's no proof of that. What I can tell you is that faith and internal resistance are more valuable than any material possession. I'm sorry to say that at the end of his torment, his life is restored with a greater abundance than before, but the real gain is not external, but internal. The same teaching is found in the philosophy of the Stoic Emperor Marco Aurelio. A philosopher friend once shared with me a beautiful perspective on life's challenges. He said that when we face difficulties, it's not about running away or avoiding them, but rather, it's about embracing them as part of our journey. These challenges, when faced with courage and clarity, can actually help us grow stronger and wiser. Many of history's great teachers have faced their own crises, and in those moments, it seemed like they were facing the impossible. Take, for example, the story of Buddha. He was born as a prince, with all the privileges that comes with it, but he chose to walk a different path. True awakening it happened when he faced the suffering of the world and chose to leave the comfort behind. He traveled a path of deprivations, and it was there that San Juan de la Cruz wrote his most inspiring texts. In the midst of the most difficult times, Nelson Mandela turned his confinement into a chance to create a conscience that would change the fate of his nation. When life shakes with a crisis, the instinctive reaction is to resist, to feel regret. Even if they looked guilty, souls knew. They knew what a face-to-face challenge could bring out in someone. If you're betrayed by someone you trusted, it can feel like you've lost a relationship and a sense of who you are. When you're struggling with money, you might discover talents you never would have explored otherwise. If you're dealing with a health issue, you can learn to value life in a new way. Everything happened for a reason. The evolution of the soul is like a beautiful journey. Sometimes, it might feel like a setback, but it's actually a stepping stone to a wonderful transformation. It's said that every fall is a chance to grow, and the deeper the fall, the brighter the light that shines through. She's not defined by her struggles, but by her ability to ask, what can I learn from this experience? And you, my friend, are a guiding light in this journey. In Japanese tradition, there's a beautiful concept called kintsu that speaks to this idea. The art of repairing ceramics with gold instead of hiding the fractures is all about celebrating the beauty of the piece. It's like how we can transform the wounds of life into lessons we can learn from. It's not about forgetting the pain, but rather, it's about understanding that every scar is a story of resilience. It's about recognizing the strength of those who can turn challenges into opportunities. I know it's hard when you're going through a tough time, but it's important to remember that suffering isn't the end of the world. It's a chance to learn and grow. When you trust the process, you can face uncertainty without fear. And when you see that every loss has a hidden gain, it helps you understand that challenges are actually blessings in disguise. Life doesn't feel like a series of unfair events anymore, but a journey of growth and learning. When you let go of fear and understand that every obstacle is an opportunity, you can find peace and strength in the midst of difficulty. To build a version stronger, wider, and more illuminated from Chapter 11, Signal Number 10, The Destruction of the Old World to Build the New, the deep transformation is not a process harmonious or complacent. The true evolution implies internal shaking, crises, and external moments in which everything seems to crumble. It is no accident that Jesus will pronounce one of the most enigmatic words, I have not come to bring peace, but vera. Matthew 10:34. If you're only looking for a little peace and balance, you might not be ready for a deeper transformation of the spirit. Lighting isn't just about adding more, it's about letting go of what's not true. This idea isn't new, it's been around since the beginning of time. Many spiritual traditions have taught that to make room for something new, you have to let go of the old. In Hinduism, when we think of the god of destruction, we don't see him as evil, but as a necessary force that helps create and renew. Your cosmic dance helps to break down what's no longer useful so that new creation can emerge without having to let go of the old. Absolutely. There's room for new growth and evolution on your spiritual journey. This process of transformation often happens within, and it's known by different names like the dark night of the soul, ego dissolution, or the crisis of awakening. It's a time when all that you previously believed starts to crumble. Your beliefs, attachments, and emotions might feel a bit unstable, and it's normal to feel a bit lost. Your ego might be afraid of this change because it's spent so much time building a sense of self around material things. External validations are defined by history and how others perceive them. But sometimes, structures can feel so rigid that they hold back the true divine being within. Alchemists use the Nigredo phase to symbolize this process of destruction and transformation. Before the material is purified, it's blackened, and it's like a state of chaos and decomposition. This is what we experience in our minds and spirits as a crisis. It's a time when our sense of identity can feel fragile and changing. When our world changes, it's normal to feel a bit lost. It's like we're losing our sense of who we are. It's okay to feel this way. It's not about being real, but about letting go of the things that hold us back. In Buddhism, they say that this is a time to let go of our worries. It's not about having nothing, but about letting go of the things that make us feel stuck. When we let go of our worries, we can focus on what's truly important. Just like how the wheat grain doesn't fall to the ground and die, we can let go of our worries and focus on what's truly important. 24. The seed must be broken down so that the tree can be born anew, just like a human being. You have to let go of your old self so that its divine nature can shine through. But this process isn't easy. It's not enough to just wait for transformation to happen on its own. In the Sufi tradition, Rumi taught that we have to be willing to let go of our old ways, just like throwing a search engine into the fire 24. It's important to let go of your old self so that new growth can happen. You have to be willing to let go of your old ideas and beliefs so that new ones can take their place. This process can be difficult, but it's essential for growth. In the Sufi tradition, Rumi taught that we have to be brave and face our challenges. Only by facing our struggles can we truly evolve and grow. This isn't about sacrifice, but about choosing to grow and evolve on our own. Change can be hard, but it's something that happens to all of us. Throughout history, societies have gone through periods of change and evolution. With courage, because only the one left can be reborn by the flame of truth. It's not a sacrifice imposed by an external force, but a voluntary delivery to the transformation. The destruction of the old world occurs not only in the personal realm, but also in the collective. Throughout history, societies have crossed cycles, and structures that no longer serve us must collapse to make room for a new order. Change is resisted when we're stuck in our ways, but change is inevitable. The empires that seemed eternal have fallen. The ideologies that were believed to be unwavering have been replaced. Absolute truths have been dismantled over and over again. The global community is going through one of these old transitions, beliefs, and models. Change is a part of life, and sometimes it's hard to let go of the old to make room for the new. We've seen empires rise and fall, ideologies come and go, and truths that once seemed set in stone have been knocked down again and again. It's like we're in the middle of a big global shift, where old ways of thinking and systems are giving way to new ones. It's a bit scary and confusing for some, but for those who have a deeper understanding, it's clear that chaos isn't the end, but the start of something new and exciting. The tarot card The Tower is a perfect example of this. It's like a symbol of transformation and new beginnings. It's time to let go of those old ideas and systems that no longer serve us. They are falling apart for those who can see past them. A sword arrow might make you feel a bit uneasy, but if you look closely, you'll see that it's actually a sign of new growth. At the tarot, the Tau letter represents this idea. It shows a tower built on shaky foundations, struck by lightning, and then crumbling from our human perspective. It might seem scary, but in a deeper sense, it's a symbol of freedom. What's not real can't stay, so space can open up for new truth. This isn't something you can just avoid. Every soul has its own journey, and sometimes that means facing destruction. It's easy to get stuck in our heads, thinking we have to keep everything the way it is. But sometimes, we have to let go of what's not working and open up to new possibilities. It's scary to let go of the familiar and trust that what's coming next will be better. But it's important to remember that change isn't just about destroying things. It's about understanding that growth and transformation are part of life. Some people are reluctant to let go of the past. Others realize that sometimes the only choice is to let go and trust that what's coming will be better. It's not about destroying for the sake of destruction, but about understanding that change is a natural part of life. Fear doesn't help. Our egos might fear the unknown, but the unknown is actually a doorway to something new and exciting. Those who brave the storm find the true peace isn't found in the permanence of what we know, but in the knowledge that what's born after destruction is always bigger and stronger. It's important to let go of what you're holding on to. Chapter 12, Signal Number 11, The Call. For thousands of years, people have been searching for answers in the world around them. They've consulted oracles, written treaties, built temples, and followed spiritual guides. They've hoped to find the way, but the TR has some extra additions, but they all point to the same essential truth: the answer is not outside, but inside. The soul has always spoken, has always known, but the mind has learned to ignore the interior call. It's not a thunderous sound or a clear message. It's a whisper, a feeling, an inexplicable certainty without rational justification. This impulse guides a person towards the unknown, without guarantees, but with love and support. There's a voice that's so gentle, it's almost like it follows this road even when there's no logic to it. Those who have learned to listen to this call have found that life unfolds with such precision, it's as if it were choreographed. But, distinguishing the voice of the soul isn't always easy. there's another voice, much more forceful and persistent, that's the ego. Our minds, shaped by society, are used to shouting, arguing, and rationalizing. We make decisions based on our need for security, fear or convenience. The ego can make us feel like we need things that seem urgent, but maybe they are not as important as we think. The difference between the two is subtle, but it's important to understand. The ego can make us feel anxious, but the soul can bring calm. The wise men of India talked about the ARM, a concept that says there's a part of us that's connected to the whole universe. According to these teachings, the ego isn't everything. It's more like a mask, a temporary construction that we create. The mind can navigate the material world, but the weapon doesn't. It's like it's unaffected by time or circumstances. Her voice is constant, but many don't pay attention to her because she's caught up in the noise of daily life. The Sufis have always taught that the true guide doesn't come from books or doctrines, but from a direct connection with the heart. One of the great poets and mystics wrote that when you do things from your soul, you'll feel a river moving inside you. A joy deep within this is the key to recognizing the difference between what your ego wants and what your soul is calling you to do. Your ego will make you restless, but your soul will make you feel peaceful. But sometimes, the voice of your soul doesn't make it easy to follow. It means letting go of what you've planned, of getting away from what's familiar, of giving up what your ego is sure to fear. This uncertainty and struggle to approach what you know, however, is part of every great transformation. It's so beautiful when someone trusts what their soul is telling them, even when there's no proof. The Gnostic Gospels say that true knowledge comes from within, not from the outside world. When you understand yourself, you're truly known, and you realize that you're loved by the living Father. The Gospel of Thomas says that true wisdom doesn't come from following a pre. We've all been down this path before, and it's always nice to remember what's already within. If you learn to interpret the voice of your intuition, you'll find that it's not just for a few special people, but it's a natural ability for all of us. Unfortunately, the modern world has made us forget this. We've been taught to value logic and analysis more than our natural instincts. We've been taught to doubt our feelings and ignore our deep instincts in favor of reason. But those of us who have learned to trust our intuition know that this isn't usually the best way. If you want to improve this ability, try spending some time in silence. Let your mind and body rest and recharge. We're always doing so much. Sometimes, when we're exposed to too much external stimulation, it's hard to hear the voice of our soul. In all different kinds of spiritual traditions, it's thought that it's really important to take some time for yourself and think about your life. In the Kabbalah, they say that the light is only revealed in a vacuum. In Buddhism, they teach that if you want to know the truth, you have to be calm like a lake without waves. This helps you tell the difference between what your ego wants and what your soul truly wants. A lot of the time, what the ego wants to seem noble and justified. It wants you to feel stable, successful, and all that. But when you look at it more closely, you'll see that these things aren't as great as they seem. Wishes are based on fear or a need for validation from others. The call of the soul is different. It doesn't seek approval or justification. It simply recognizes things and asks questions. This decision brings me peace or makes me anxious. If it comes from the soul, it will make me feel aligned, even if it means taking a risk. If it comes from the ego, it will make me worry and want to be sure the result is good before I act. When a person starts to follow the voice of their soul, life changes. Opportunities that seemed impossible before now seem possible. Decisions are made more easily. There's less doubt, and more. I know it's hard to understand, but that's okay. This doesn't mean there won't be challenges, but the difference is that now he walks with the confidence that each step is correct, even when the final fate is not seen. He has always been calling, just learn to listen to Chapter 13, Signal number 12. The power of faith and quantum manifestation is not a simple act of belief or hope. Passive, that something happens, is an active power, a certainty that molds the reality. Jesus expressed it clearly: if you had faith like a mustard, you would say to this mountain, move from here, there, and it would move, and nothing would be impossible. Matthew 5:20. These words aren't just empty words. They are a revelation of a law deep within us. Philosophers and scientific mystics have been exploring the relationship between see and the manifestation for a long time. In the New Thought tradition, Neville Goddard taught that the mental state we assume with certainty becomes reality. When we pray for something external, we're not just asking for it. It's said that the key is not to ask with doubt, but to act as if the blessing would have been received. This idea is actually present in the texts. Jesus, our sacred guide, didn't say that he believed it might happen. He spoke of a faith, a conviction, absolute and unwavering. This certainty isn't just a mental disposition, but a state of being that vibrates at the same frequency as what you want. You know, when you really get to the heart of things, you don't need any proof. It's like a beautiful gift that the truth is already there, just waiting for us to bring it to life in our world. The Kabbalah says that the universe is like a mirror that reflects our thoughts and beliefs. What we believe in with all our hearts and souls, that's what the world will see. It's like reality is a beautiful dance, responding to the energy we put out into the world. I know it can be hard to believe, but I'm here to tell you that success is possible. If you have faith in the infinite provision, the universe will respond to your certainty. In quantum physics, the principle of observer suggests that reality is defined by perception. Experiments have shown that observing particles can alter their behavior. This doesn't mean the human mind is capable of everything, but it does show that anything is possible if you believe. Beliefs matter in a literal sense, but they are not the only thing that affects how we experience reality. Our intentions and perceptions also play a role. Our conscience tends to expand and take shape. The problem is that most people practice see backwards. They believe firmly in lack and difficulty, and they don't realize their power to manifest things against themselves. They care about the worst and their concerns materialize. They doubt their capacity, and doubt becomes a real barrier. I know it can be hard to see the world as friendly when you're going through tough times. It's normal to feel that life is full of challenges, but I want you to know that there's a way to make it easier. Instead of focusing on the negative, try focusing on the positive. Instead of asking if something is possible, just believe that it is. Faith is its own proof, as Emerson said, and it's there to help you see that the invisible is already on its way to being visible. The universe is on your side, as long as you have a mind determined to see it. And remember, faith isn't just a thought, it's an action. Believing in abundance is possible when we act from a place of scarcity. Trusting in success starts with making decisions based on conviction, not fear. If we truly believe in our path and walk with confidence, we won't doubt or hesitate. We'll seek validation from the world around us because we'll already know our destination is set by our faith. Jesus said that if we pray with belief, we will receive what we ask for. Matthew 9:922. The focus here is on Him, not the request. The key difference between a prayer that feels empty and one that has a powerful effect is the confidence we put into it. When we pray with complete faith, it's as if the universe itself is listening. The proof is in the pudding. It happens because of our belief, not because we're forcing it on anyone. 22. The key here is to trust. When you pray with total confidence, you're not just hoping for a miracle, you're creating one. The universe will always work in your favor, not because it has to, but because you're in sync with its natural flow. Don't let doubt get in the way. When you believe, you can manifest the quantum reality. It's magical, but it's also a law. The question isn't whether it works, but how you're using it. Are you using it unconsciously because you're afraid or short on something? Or are you using it deliberately to access the abundance and expansion that's available to you? This wonderful principle is all about not waiting for miracles to happen, but instead creating them yourself. When you have faith and trust in the universe, you'll see that it's always been there for you. That's what chapter 14 is all about. It's about the growth of your soul and the power of the lightning staff, which we've talked about a lot on this journey. It's a gentle reminder to keep your heart open and believe in the possibilities around you. This principle is all about embracing the idea that miracles are all around us, waiting for us to notice them. When you walk with absolute faith, you'll discover that the universe has always been there, waiting for you to believe. Chapter 14, the conclusion of this journey reminds us that the universe is always communicating with those who are willing to listen. Nothing is random, every experience, good or bad, is part of a bigger plan that we can understand. When we open our hearts and let our souls awakening, we start to see the hidden perfection in everything. But awakening is just the start of a journey, not the final destination. The universe is always talking to us, even if we don't always realize it. It's like a journey of self-discovery, where you start out going through life on autopilot, reacting to things without really thinking about them. But then, you have these moments of clarity, and you realize that there's so much more out there than what you can see. It's like a call to action, to live life to the fullest and appreciate every moment as an opportunity to grow. So, how can we integrate all of this? The soul is like a beautiful journey, and it's so important to be open to the signs along the way. It's not about collecting knowledge or finding a permanent state of peace, but rather, it's about living each moment to the fullest, knowing that every moment is a chance to grow. So, how can we integrate these signs into our daily lives and prevent our minds from getting caught up in the distractions of the world? Here's a simple answer: be mindful. Most of us are just going through life on autopilot, reacting without thinking, making decisions without taking the time to reflect, and seeking answers outside ourselves. But those of us who are paying attention know that every event, every meeting, and every challenge brings a message. Every detail is a piece in the great puzzle of life. The second key is trust. You can't advance on this path without surrender to the certainty that the universe is always working in favor of the growth of your soul, even when everything seems to be working against you. If you're awake, you know that every event, every meeting, and every challenge is a sign. Every detail is a piece of the great puzzle of life. The second key is trust. You can't advance on this path without surrender to the certainty that the universe is always working in favor of the growth of your soul, even when everything seems to be in chaos. Even when your rational mind doesn't understand the purpose behind an experience. Faith in the process is what allows transformation to occur without resistance. The third essential aspect is action. Awareness alone is not enough. If you don't act accordingly, you won't recognize the signs. You won't know what needs to be changed. And you won't be able to do it. It's easy to feel overwhelmed, even when you know what to do. When you're going through a tough time, it's important to remember that faith can help you grow without putting up a fight. But, you have to be willing to take action. Just knowing what to do isn't enough, you have to do it. Otherwise, you're not really changing. It's easy to ignore your inner call, but that just makes things harder for you. Remember, personal lighting isn't just an idea, it's a way of living where every decision, every word, and every thought is in harmony. Many spiritual traditions have said that the biggest obstacles to personal lighting are not outside, but the way our minds like to repeat the same old patterns. Our ego might want to stay comfortable and in control, but our soul is always wanting to grow. To let your soul grow, you have to be willing to accept that change is a constant. It's so important to remember that each time we reach a new level of consciousness, we'll always find a new border to explore. This doesn't mean we'll live without challenges or conflicts. Instead, we'll learn to see them in a different light. This will help us understand that every obstacle is an opportunity to refine our essence. Each crisis is a door to a deeper understanding. We just have to assume that nothing is a mistake, everything that happens has a purpose. Although we may not always know the reason, it will be clear right away. A teacher is someone who has learned to walk with open eyes, without fear, without doubt, and with the certainty that each step is part of a larger design. This is not about reaching a final goal, but about learning to see the divinity in everything, even in what seems mundane. It's about nurturing the soul and understanding that life itself is the answer. It's about not looking to others for answers because you know that everything is already deep, or not fearing the future because you trust the journey. He has faith that the present moment is in harmony with reality, gently guiding him forward on his journey. Each experience is a stepping stone on his path, leading him higher and higher. The evolution of the soul is a never-ending journey of growth and self-discovery, a beautiful blend of personal evolution and connection with the divine. Those who have a deep sense of connection with the universe understand that no matter how far they travel, they always find themselves exactly where they are meant to be. This inner peace comes from a place of authenticity, a direct connection with the truth that lies deep within.